how's it going? I'm Grant Swanson with Video Apex, and welcome to this exciting two-part video tutorial on creating the ever-popular SimCity effects. Now when I say SimCity effects, for this first tutorial, we're going to be creating these two effects. First one here. The most common thing when everyone thinks of the SimCity effect, they're thinking of this effect where everything's in black and white, except for one or two things are in color. In this case, the blue jeans. And then also, we're going to be creating the designated driver scene from the movie where they're driving the car, everything's in black and white, except the reflections from the lights passing by outside are in color. And that's also a very cool effect. So let's get started. We're going to go ahead and drag our footage down into the new comp button. And normally you'd want to work in 16 bits per channel color mode, but since I'm doing a screen capture, I'm going to leave that at 8 bits. Now what we're going to want to do is select the footage and hit Control D or Command D on a Mac and turn off the top layer for a second, or its visibility, and select the bottom layer. And we need to make the background black and white, so we're going to go ahead and choose Effect, Color Correction, Tint. And that will do the trick for us. Now go ahead and turn the back layer back on and select the top layer. And to this we're going to apply our main effect. So go to Effect, Color Correction, Leave Color. And what this is going to do for us is make everything black and white except for the color we choose. So select the eyedropper and choose whatever color it is that you want to leave in color. In this case, I'll choose his jeans. And drag the amount to decolor all the way up to 100%. And set the Match Colors method to using hue rather than using RGB. And you can see things are starting to happen. A lot of this foreground and background has become black and white, and his jeans are in full color. We can go ahead and adjust the tolerance a bit. I'm probably going to bring it down right around 8.5, somewhere around there. By the way, if you hold down Control on your keyboard and scrub through it, you can move in 1/10 of an increment to make some finer adjustments. I'm going to leave that at 8.5. That seems good for this shot. Now what we want to do is create a garbage mat to get rid of some of these other problem areas in the door, these highlights, and on this blue paper. So just select the pen tool and create a few points. You may actually want to create a few more than you think you might need. That looks good. And as you can see, that gets rid of a lot of those other colors for us. Now you're going to want to animate this throughout your timeline. So select this layer, hit M on the keyboard, and hit the stopwatch for mask shape or mask path. And go out maybe a half a second or so. And you can just loosely adjust your mask to fit around your new shape, and just keep going basically and animate. It doesn't have to be perfect. It can be real rough actually. You just want to get the mask around your object. Alright, I'm going to jump ahead into the point in time where I've got all of these keyframes done. If we just scrub through here, you can see we have some great looking results, except for when he starts to go down the stairs, some of these colors start to wash out. So just go right before that, right about there. Set a keyframe for the tolerance. Then go forward 10 frames, hit Shift on the keyboard, hold down Shift and hit page down to jump forward 10 frames, and just boost up the tolerance until those colors go away. And that should be good all the way down the stairs until it gets to the very bottom, and the blue color is back in color, and the blue carpet's back in color, excuse me. So there, hit U on the keyboard, actually twice, so you can see the tolerance keyframes. Set another keyframe for tolerance. Go forward just until you can start to see the blue color, and bring that down a bit till the blue color is not as in color. And you know, it's not perfect, but it's pretty good, and when we add our final treatment, you won't be able to tell. So now that's pretty good. It only took about 1.5 minutes to keyframe all those, and we've got some great looking results. Although if you know you're going to be doing a shot like this in the first place, you may want to use a tripod and not have your characters move around, so you'll have pretty much no masking to do. In the movie, the whole thing was pretty much shot on green screen, and it's on a tripod, so they didn't have very much masking to do in the first place. So now what we want to do is, with our first layer selected, set its transfer mode here to color. And you may not see much happen at first, but what that's going to do is allow us to apply effects to the bottom layer to get a much more SimCity style feel. So with the bottom layer selected, go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves. And what we want to do is clip off some of the whites and blacks, but still retain detail in them. So just kind of grab a point along here and bring it up all the way to the top, and then select another keyframe here just to kind of ease that in more smoothly. And that's going to have a nice curve for us. And do the same with the bottom. Just clip off a point on the bottom and then bring another point down to ease it in more. And if we just wait for this to load, that's looking pretty good. You may want to actually bring the gamma down a bit. That's looking pretty good though. If we do a quick RAM preview, okay, and you can see that's looking really cool. Just click to stop the animation. And if you hold down Alt on your keyboard and zoom in, scroll with your mouse, you can see we have a few problem areas right around here. And they're not really going to be noticed, but if you do want to get rid of them, you can select the top layer, grab the pen tool, and just create a quick little mask around it, create a few points to make kind of a box like that. Then hit V to go back to the selection tool. Hit M on your keyboard. That will bring up the masks, and set its mode to subtract, and that will get rid of the colors. And you're going to want to animate that throughout the timeline. But, it's really not necessary. I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And we zoom back out here to fit up to 100%. That's looking pretty good. A few more things we can do to adjust it. With the top layer selected, go to Effect, Color Correction, Hue, and Saturation. If you do have a lot of those little spill-off areas, you maybe want to bring the saturation down a bit to maybe minus 25, somewhere around there. Or if you prepared the shot well, like you should have, this shot was not prepared very well since we have the blue carpet and the blue pants. But, what can you do? So, if you did prepare it well, you can drag the saturation up a bit, and that is a really cool effect where the colors are just really bright and vivid. But for this shot, I'm going to maybe bring that down to minus 15, and that'll look good for us for now. So, if we hit the tilde key and do a final RAM preview, okay, and you can see that's looking really cool. So, we have our first effect done. I hit the tilde key to get out of that mode. Go to the project window, and I'm actually going to delete this comp just so we don't have to work with it from now on. And to get started on our second effect, drag our footage back down into a new comp, and there we go. So to this, we're going to duplicate our footage, select it, Control-D or Command-D on a Mac, and to this top layer, we're going to go to Effect, Color Correction, Curves. And we're going to turn off the bottom layer for a second just so you can see what we're doing. What we want to do is create some highlights on this where there are none, and get rid of some highlights where there are highlights. And this is going to be our Luma matte for where the reflections are going to be. So just drag this first point all the way down to the bottom. Then on this first line here, this vertical line, select the point at the bottom, drag it all the way up to the top. Take this middle line, drag this point all the way down to the bottom. And take this last line and drag this all the way up to the top. And we get some wacky results, but just go to Effect, Color Correction, Tint, and then drag the tint before the curves. That'll just make it a little different for us. So just remember to create this M shape when you do this, and that's useful for any kind of reflection. I use that M a lot. So now turn the bottom layer back on and set its track matte. If that's not visible, hit F4 on your keyboard to Luma Matte Sin City Effects. And there you can see, if we toggle transparency, that just certain areas are in color, and that's a very cool effect. Now what we want to do to this layer, though, because this will be the basis for our highlights, we want to go to Effect, Color Correction, Hue, and Saturation, and hit Colorize. Now it's up to you how saturated you want your colors, but I'm going to drag them up all the way to 100%, and that gives some very cool looks. And set the stopwatch for Colorize Hue to set a keyframe. Go to the end of your timeline and maybe set one rotation. And if we drag through the timeline, you can see the colors change around, and that'll be as if the cars are driving by. Now go back to the project window, drag our footage back down underneath it, and to this layer, the second layer, set its transfer mode to color. I know you can't see that, but trust me, it's there. Now, it's looking okay, but we can adjust it some more. Select the very top layer, and since they're highlights and reflections off lights, we want to blur them out slightly so they look more realistic. So go to Effect, Blur and Sharpen, just Fast Blur, and set Repeat Edge Pixels, and drag its blurriness up however high you want. You can adjust this yourself. I'm going to say maybe 15 for this shot. And now we need to apply our overall Sin City look and feel to the bottom layer. So go to Effect, Color Correction, Tint, and Effect, Color Correction, Curves. And we're going to do the same thing, just blow out some of these whites and smooth it in a bit. and blow out some of these blacks, crush the blacks, and smooth that down a bit. And there you can see we have some really cool looking results. Hit the tilde key on your keyboard and do a quick RAM preview. You can see our colors cycle through as the timeline progresses, and it's a really cool effect. We just stop that, go out of the tilde key, hit the tilde key again to go to full screen mode, and we can just kind of drag along right around here. You can see we have some really nice light fall off here, as if there's actually a window over here. We shot this on the upper level of our studio. Up here there's a window. It looks as if all this yellow bright light is coming in through the window and everything else is in black and white. Same thing with these lights over here shining on the wall. It's a really nice fall off. So again, now if you know you're going to be shooting a shot like this, try and make sure that you set it up correctly. The thing that really sells the shot in the movie is that they actually have the background played video of the car driving by and all these different lights driving by, and that just really sells the effect. In this case, it looks pretty good, though. We didn't set up that kind of shot, but, you know, what can you do? So, I hope to see you next time when we go over some more effects right out of the movie. I'm Grant Swanson for CreativeCow.net.